Spirit, one God, Amen. Today the church celebrates the martyrdom of Saint Mina. Yes, Saint Mina is the saint after whom this class is named. This is the class of Saint Mina, if you didn't know. And that's why we have a picture of Saint Mina in the back. So let me tell you a little bit about Mina, Saint Mina. And God willing, at the end of the lesson today, we're going to have a glorification for Mina. We'll say Axios. And when we say Axios, we say Axios Ava Mina. Say Ava Mina.
Ava Mina.
Inteni.
Inteni.
Bayat.
Bayat.
What is Bayat? Bayat is a region in Egypt. This is where his body was found. This is where the monastery of Mina was built. There's a city. So they call him Saint Mina. Inteni means of. Bayat was the region or the city where his body was located. You probably know the story of Mina. We'll briefly say it to remind you. He was a young soldier who was Christian, and when the Christian persecution arose, he actually left the military and went and lived in solitude as a monk, as a hermit, exactly. For how long?
20 years.
3.
Oh.
He lived for 3 years. He was young. So after 3 years, he saw a vision. The vision was of an angel who had 3 crowns with him. 3 crowns. A crown of asceticism. Asceticism means fasting and praying and not eating. You have a question?
No, I have something to say.
Wait until the end. So, a crown for celibacy, which is not being married, and then a crown of martyrdom. So he understood that he needs to leave the desert and go confess his Christianity, and probably will be killed for it. And he did. And Mina was martyred. Today is the commemoration of the feast of his martyrdom. They tried to burn his body, but they couldn't burn his body, and the believers took it and buried it. Many years later, miracles were happening from his body, and that's why a lot of miracles happened. They call him Saint Mina or Mina, the wonder worker. The wonder worker. For example, Saint George is the prince of the martyrs, but Mina, because of the number of miracles, they call him the wonder worker. There is one thing I'd like to tell you about Mina. We'll talk about his icons, how he's depicted. So you always see him in the icon with 2 camels next to him. And these camels, the story is that when they took his body, they put it on the camels, and then in the area of Bayat, the camels would not move, so they understood that this is where his body is to be located. Sometimes also in the story they say that there were sea creatures with long necks that were trying to attack the ship where his body was, and sometimes these are depicted, but you know the camels also have long necks. So sometimes it's the camels or these creatures that were told in the story. Mina is many times depicted with his military outfit as a Roman soldier. I'll tell you a true story. I heard this from someone who actually saw Mina in the monastery of Mina. He was an old man, and he had visited the monastery, and he's a frequent visitor of the monastery. In the early years of the building, so there was not a lot of people there, and it was very rough in that area. There were only a few monks, and he was used to spend the night there. One night he actually decided to go to church. He was not sleepy. He went to church and just stayed in the church. And after a while, he fell asleep in the church. And then he woke up on a sound of someone walking. But the way he described it, he said, there were only monks in the monastery, and when the monks walk, or Abuna walks, because of the way they're wearing the tunic, it has a certain sound to it. So that tunic makes a sound with the air as they're walking, and it's just cloth making them. Yes, exactly. But he said that what he was hearing was not that distinctive sound of a monk. And there were like 6 monks during that, or 5. But it was actually metal and with strong foot clank. Yes, so and then he saw Mina in his military outfit, and he blessed him and left. Mina.
Was he like freaking out?
No, he wasn't freaking out. One of the things also, those who have seen Mina, and if you hear the stories of Mina, many miracles, obviously, because his relationship with Pope Kyrillos, if you really pay attention, you will understand that Mina does have a sense of humor.
He does, actually.
What happened?
It's a lot of stories if I have to tell you for you to understand that. Just if you read these stories or you listen to the stories, he does have a sense of humor. Now, one thing I want to tell you, there is a rare icon of Mina on a camel, and soldiers with guns and tanks are running from him. That is a very rare icon, and it's I believe it's in a church in Greece. Why is that icon depicted like that? In World War II, the German Nazi army was in the western desert of Egypt, and the Allies were going to fight with them in that area, this area called the Alamein. And there was a major battle there. And it is said that Mina actually came at night on a camel with other, perhaps saints or angels, also riding on camels, and they attacked the Nazi army. And this is where that icon is depicted.
Wow, that's pretty rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wait. So how many of there are there?
Like 5.
What are you asking?
How many of those icons are there?
There are many icons. Sometimes he's standing with the 2 camels. There is an icon of him on a horse. There's an icon of him that I just described. And there's an icon without the military fatigue. But there is a famous icon. The most famous icon is with him, his hands stretched like praying with the 2 camels. This is the one we have. This is the most famous one. So, remember, we're going to say the glorification, Axios Avamina Inteni Bayat, okay? What do you want to say?
When was Saint Mina born?
When was he born?
That's hard to tell.
The church celebrates the day of their martyrdom. There are only few saints in the church where we celebrate the day they were born. Can you tell me one?
Jesus.
Well, Lord Jesus, true, Lord Jesus Christ is not a saint. Did you know that?
Yeah, but...
He's not a saint. Can you imagine? He's not a saint. He is God incarnate. But we celebrate the Nativity, which is the birth of Lord Jesus Christ. So, but I'm asking about saints. Who are the saints that we celebrate the birth of? No, Archangel Michael was not born. Archangel Michael is a spirit. He doesn't have a father or a mother. He doesn't have a martyrdom. He doesn't have a birth date. He doesn't. Okay, let's finish the Torah. Do you know?
I have another question.
No, we're not. Let's finish what we started. So, no, wait a second. So there are 2 saints that we celebrate the birth. Saint Mary.
I just said that.
You were about to say. Can you tell me another one?
So that was the only one I knew.
That's the only one you knew. Do you know? You're guessing. No. Who is it?
You
Talk. Who?
Saint
No. Saint John the Baptist.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, because he also baptized Jesus.
Saint John the Baptist, we celebrate his birth. So you have Saint Mary and Saint John the Baptist. They're the third one, but I'm not going to tell you who it is.
Why?
No.
Is the same Maximus?
No. All right. Glory be to God forever and ever. Amen.
Why not? Why don't you tell us? Because you're scared. Ha! You're scared.
I thought it was still.
He's way